I'm about to become the controversial man now. I'm about to go hardcore on this.
I'm gonna drop
So
drop
you're gonna.
f-bombs everywhere. I'm gonna drop every slur imaginable. I'm gonna become the heel. I'm gonna become the heel.
Hi, welcome back to the Big Chat. I'm talking with Carlos Lucas. Carl Lucas. Always be Pluggin. And we talk about a variety of things from Brazilian games to our own views on content creation. I hope you enjoy.
Um,
Alright.
So I would describe my Minecraft playstyle as cave goblin. So that's how I live in real life as well. You know? The only thing I do is like mine diamonds. That's all I do in Minecraft. I have no other ambitions other than mining diamonds and making more
I need
diamonds.
all the diamonds this
How
map
many
has
diamonds?
generated.
Yes. How many?
Well,
yes. Diamond tools?
all.
Yes. All of them. Exactly.
If I could just spawn a world that was only diamond,
I would mine that shit.
Well, I got a question for you right off the bat, Carlos Lucas.
Yes.
Why should I always be plugging?
Because that seems to be, the rapper way, the rapper lifestyle. Always be plugging. So I followed my heroes to always be plugging. That's you plug your mixtape, you plug your videos, you plug your movies, you plug your short stories on Medium, you plug everything all at once. The best would be to plug everything all at once, and at the same time also pay people to upvote everything. That's the best.
Oh, okay. So pay advertisers to plug you.
Exactly. So
last night I got an advertisement on Instagram for like this 90-year-old man playing guitar. And it's just redirected me to his Instagram page of him just writing original songs on guitar. And I was like, cool. Why did you pay for advertising?
I mean, this is there's like if you started 10 years ago YouTube, right? No matter what you did, you would have a easier time because the ceiling to the ceiling to the entry ceiling is so much lower. That's why you get like legacy creators today that are hugely successful. That you think, could this work today? And the answer is like no.
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 Oversaturation. It's hard to do that.
Even if you distinguish yourself somehow in some way, be it with personality, with editing, with your video titles, it's still difficult. Now, there are stuff you can do. It depends on how much art versus product you want to make. I have one friend, he describes like there is content and there's content. One is you make what you want to do, and the other time is like you make to pay the bills, basically. And and both are valid. I'm not shitting on any. It's just like with one you will probably never find success, and it will always still a hobby. And the other one is like it probably will more likely be successful because you're taking care more of the data. And being a content creator or a creator on the platform is basically being a data analyst. That's what what it comes down to.
I find myself quoting him a lot, but I feel like there's good advice here. Marquez Brownlee was talking about when you're a content creator, you're not just a content creator, but you're also a distributor.
Yep.
You need to figure out how to market yourself in a way that is applicable to the algorithm and to YouTube. And while people hate doing that, it's unfortunately 30 to 60% of the job, depending on what kind of content you're making.
I would say probably a bigger part of the job.
I think especially when you're smaller, you don't already have a platform to elevate yourself. So it's like trying to sell a mixtape on the street or something like that.
Exactly. It's also like a rule of the rule of probability. When you are like a door-to-door salesman, you can knock on like 99 doors, right? And just by sheer probability, we're gonna sell one thing. You just have to continue knocking.
Just gotta keep going. Keep going.
You can get better at knocking. You can get better at like a sales pitch. That's sure. But like, even if you're a shitty salesman, if you knock long enough, if you knock long enough, you will get there.
What was the inspiration for the glasses?
It's more like out of necessity. like when you go back to my really early videos where I had a mask and glasses on. I think I still have them here. Uh, no, that's not it. Yeah, these ones.
Okay.
These
Okay.
ones. And these ones are similar, but these ones I can actually see through because I'm not blind, but one of my eyes is fucked.
Mm.
So I made them specially so I can like read the script, so my eyes don't go bust. And it was more out of necessity, basically. I wanted to like have something that stands out, and glasses and mask was something that I could do with the budget I had.
Well,
I dropped,
the glasses are a defining characteristic. I
yeah,
mean, they're
yeah. If you like glasses and hair now, if you see that, you probably gonna recognize me in a video. So that's kind of like an easy branding kind of thing, but also always wanted to be something on camera as well. So like it was a mix of necessity, coming up with like a solution to something, spur of the moment. I always liked like the glasses look on characters, so I thought putting glasses would be cool. I the icon on the profile icon, you can see like almost like welding glasses, and I
Mhm.
have those as well, but those are too small.
So you need to upgrade your welding glasses before those come back. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, and the welding glasses, they on camera they don't look that good. So I think
uh,
this is better.
I mean, I really do. Those glasses pop.
Yeah,
They,
yeah,
you know, it's Carlos.
yeah,
Like you
exactly.
instantly see you.
Yeah,
Well, I heard you're losing friends because you're being a whiny bitch.
it's true. It's true. It's probably gonna become a reoccurring thing. Um, I'm I'm a whiny bitch about my main channel because I'm unwilling to do certain things that people say you should do. At the same time, I whine about why I'm getting nowhere. It's kind of like a catch-22 because I want to make the content I want to make, but then it's like, okay, but to grow, you need to do something else, and I'm like, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of someone described me as like you're kind of like a kid throwing a temper tantrum or like throwing a fit. And it's like, yeah, you're right. You're just right. I'm like a kid in the shop, like making their drawings on a paper. It's like, why is nobody buying my Picasso for like $1 billion? You know. And I kind of understand where they're coming from. At the same time, I think um, when you make content, there must be something you enjoy doing, right?
Yeah.
And when you do only for the trends, at some point the trends chase you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So we are on both extremes. Like you can constantly follow the trend or constantly go your way. Does it mean that your will fail? Not necessarily, but it's also not a bad path that has been traveled before. So it's kind of always this like balancing strike between being a whiny bitch and doing what is important for your channel to grow. And I'm constantly on this side. I'm constantly being a whiny bitch about everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting because I think you and I have kind of a similar mindset where it's just like I want to make what I want to make.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be clickbaity. I don't want to, I don't I don't want a viral video idea that's not something I want to do, that I come up with and I'm like, you see like Mr. Beast talk about how he came up with ideas and he literally like open the dictionary, grab a word, and then start typing that word into analytics with other words to figure out what video is going to pop. And I heard that and I was like, that sounds soul draining. Like that sounds miserable to just sit there and study analytics and then be like, 1 million Orbeez in a pool because that's what's going to hit. And, obviously he's been extremely successful. I can't
No
detract.
doubt.
What am I going to detract from Mr. Beast? Hell no. He's going to get me killed. But,
You can
like,
criticize Mr. Beast for many things, but like saying that hasn't figured out something is kind of,
he's cracked the code. I mean, he's broken it wide open. But I think, being true to yourself is what draws people towards content creation in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, you see other people who are just getting to express themselves and be themselves and make what they want to make. And then you also see the flip side, kind of going back to legacy content creators, of people who did a specific thing for a really long time and then broke that mold. And now that old thing kind of haunts them.
Yeah.
You know, they've got a section of their fan base that's like, I miss when you did only TF2 content.
Exactly.
It's like, I hate TF2. I can't go back to TF2. That's...
Yeah,
So
the haunting of the past. I actually did recently a purge on the channel where I unlisted a bunch of stuff from like, this doesn't represent the channel anymore. Like you can still watch it. It's on the lists, but I'm like, nah. It's like, first of all, it's cleaner when you have like a page that like just looks a little bit better. This content is old, doesn't get residual views anymore. They're not evergreen as well, so it's like, away. Cleaned it up. We're gonna see. I do that sometimes where I will go back to the channel and maybe change thumbnails, change descriptions, change tags, and see where it goes. But like most of the time, it's more like gaining the feeling of control. That's what I kind of like came up with. The same reason people like gurus, YouTube gurus. YouTube gurus give a feeling of control. Even me, I realize this. Even me asking for advice is basically me asking people, give me little bit of control over my own channel, over my own success. And it's kind of like, yeah, there are things you can do, but at the end of the day, it's just guidelines, right? You can lead to something, you cannot lead to something. And the only way to figure out if something works is to test it out over and over and over and over again. And the only people that have time to do that would be YouTube gurus, but YouTube gurus don't necessarily do that. So it's kind of like you're in this constantly catch-22 of like, oh, I need to figure out what will give me control, but also nobody's willing to really do the testing that's necessary to show you that it actually works. And then you find out, oh, that's kind of like all on probability scale, right? It's not like, oh, this will work 100% of the times. This will work in a specific set of conditions with a specific date, with a specific alignment of the moon. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Control, yes, but like it's so little that you can get control over your success, basically.
I think that's interesting because like there's been times like when I've recorded with people and we bring up something that happens to be trending.
Yeah.
I don't edit it until a week, 2 weeks later. That's gone. That trending topic is out. That's not going to play into it. Yeah. So I feel like some people are really good at striking right in that moment, but having the free time to do that is also part of that ability, you know. And
not only that, feeling satisfied with the stuff you created. Like, of course, you can make something quickly that will strike the trends, but like, are you satisfied with the stuff you created? I made a whole video talking about game journalism, and it took me a week to make. And I said at the final product and said, yeah, this is garbage. And I threw it away. Like, okay, let me and I talked to someone, and I'm gonna repurpose the whole thing. But it will take more time to just write, record, re-edit. It's like, oh, okay. So like 1 week of work just gone because I didn't like the final product. Like I could be there. That guy's like, I don't give a shit. Let's just upload stuff. But yeah, I think 1 year ago or so, or 2 years ago, I would have just uploaded and fine is. But I came to a part where like, yeah, I want to make stuff that is like timely. I don't want to take like 3 months to make a video, but also I don't want to put out stuff that is not good.
Yeah.
And it's like a constant struggle of like being a whiny bitch, making content for the sake of it, you know. And I'm like constantly in this corner here.
So say you gain, God forbid, but say you gain no more subscribers. Are you satisfied with the content you're making?
Yeah. I would still. Someone asked me if you had all the money, right? If you just had the money, would you still continue making content? Yeah, obviously. Like I'm sure I'm making content to at some point pay my bills, but like I'm still like making content no matter what.
Well, so not only are you losing friends because you're a whiny bitch, but I hear you watch movies wrong.
Yes, yes. Apparently, I watch movies wrong. So Friend of mine. I actually like him. There's no beef between us. But basically, I said someone tweeted something about the same writer that wrote Captain Marvel wrote WandaVision, and I said when you write those two movies, maybe you should stop because clearly there's something wrong with writing ability to write characters that are even remote. I asked someone, "Hey, can you remember the name of the scroll enemy?" And they're like, no, because clearly there's no connection between them. Also, I heard they want to do the whole secret invasion storyline, which is the scrolls, but now they're evil, which is like, oh, so you wrote in your universe that the scrolls are good, but now they're gonna become evil again. Understood. Great. Anyways, WandaVision was like a great concept, right? Like someone is grieving, having like their own world, and then they're like, yeah, we don't care about any of the world building. Vision, you know that guy? We're gonna forget about that guy in the next movie because fuck him. And you know the bad guys that want to kill that basically want to remove the nuclear weapon basically, or like the world destroying weapon that is WandaVision. Yeah, those are the bad guys. Like, oh, okay. Maybe your writing is not up to par. Like I feel confident that I could come up with something better, right? Like anyone could come up with something better. Even like looking at this feels like a first draft of something. Anyways, and then he said, yeah, watching, yeah, like this, thinking about this is not how anyone should watch these movies because it's from the comics. Like comics have dumb shit in it, and I'm like, and every time I have this conversation with my friend, it's feel frustrated because no matter what I bring up, they say, "Does this make sense? Does this not make sense?" He's like, "But it's a comic. Who cares?" And like, okay, then I don't need to have the conversation with you because you're never gonna engage in the conversation.
I do think there's an interesting conversation to be had about like, yes, Marvel movies are based upon comics, and to a certain extent they are pulpy, right?
Yeah,
you know, like
sure.
But
the posters alone,
but they are the biggest budget movies of our time. So, do you feel like there is a bit of responsibility there to go a bit beyond their pulp, or do you think like? I mean, obviously, you watch movies wrong, so you think
I'm a wrong
no pulp,
movie watcher.
right?
Yeah, I'm a wrong movie watcher. I think time travel is one of the worst decisions you can make in a movie. I think when you just because something exists in the comic should be done in the movies because comics have bad storytelling all the time, but don't tell anyone. Yeah, but I think when you have so much money at hand, there must be like a level of quality control, right? I don't know who, for example, Mr. Beast throws out makes a video where all the cuts and all the logic, there's no like cohesion, no narrative cohesion between. We would criticize him for it, right? As a content creator.
Yeah. If he released the Squid Games video and we weren't able to follow his Squid Game, then we'd be like, "What? Why did you make this?
Yeah.
Like,
so
what's the purpose?
Why do we treat like a Marvel movie just because it's comics differently than a Mr. Beast video, which is like, and I'm not putting them on the same level. I think they are kind of like still content, they're both like narratives that they're being told. One is like a little bit shorter, one is much longer and much bigger. But like, why do you excuse stuff that happens here, but you wouldn't excuse stuff that happens here? Holding like media different standards. This is something much more like that you can throw away. Like you consume that quite quickly and then you forget about it. This is like something that you like hold up for years and years to come. Like these Marvel movies will be watched and rewatched and rewatched and rewatched again. And then the more you rewatch them, you notice, wow, this does make sense. Oh, this concept story does make sense. Like how the fuck did the writers come up with it? Why is this person getting paid? And they get rehired and rehired and hired again just to write the stories that like are constantly falling apart more and more. It's not even about the whole world building, right? Even if you take movies as singular movies and look at them, and then you think, the whole movie is breaking its rule. Why? Is it just to make like the scene happen? Because if it is, then maybe there's something wrong with how they produce the movies, right? It's not only like how the writing, so how they produce it. Maybe the money should be spent a little bit differently. Who knows? And but of course I'm watching movies wrong, so everything I said is of course doesn't matter.
So let's think of a hypothetical multiverse situation where instead of being AAA big budget films, Marvel gets A24 budget, and they're forced to pare down like crazy.
Yeah.
Do you think we'd still be as critical about them being pulpy? Yeah.
I mean, look at the CW shows, for example. They have A24 budget, and I mean, CW shows get criticized all the time because they have. If you think Marvel writing is like inconsistent, CW show is like there's no writing is apparent. Like you look, it's all like looking at the blank a sheet of paper with like a bunch of words on it. Like, oh, yeah, those are words. I recognize those, but they don't form a sentence. And also tried the whole multiverse thing, and just forget about everything. Just like what are worlds? Why do heroes exist? Power. Who cares?
Do you think people like you and I are more critical of that stuff because we try to make our own content?
Yes, probably. So someone that never made something has probably a different outlook on it, and they're like, I just, and people also just like to enjoy stuff. Like people like to like stuff. That's fine.
You're segueing perfectly into my next concept, which is I am afraid to hate things.
I'm not. I hate. I love hating. I'm a love hater.
How do I encourage myself to hate?
It's really easy. It's really easy. In the same way, you use the thing you love, the thing you care about, and you use that caring about and transform that into the hating. Because I care about Marvel movies as much as I criticize them. That's why I criticize them, because I care about them. I want them to be better. I want them to be good. I want to have them good writing. I want them to show the world it's possible to make a AAA, not triple, but like the big budget movie about fucking superpowers that is well written, that has characters that you can remember, and villains that are really, really well explained. I want the Joker to exist several times, like a movie that has been well thought out. Or, for example, Arcane, like the League of Legends series. Arcane, I don't use the word masterpiece lightly. I think I never use the word masterpiece. But Arcane is close to a masterpiece.
Literally shivers just thinking about it right now. That show's so good.
When anybody say, "Oh, Arcane has also like the same budget as a Marvel movie," why can't a Marvel movie be as good as Arcane if they have like also similar talent, right? Like, for me, it's like I use the love I have for things and why I care about them, and turn that into criticism and like hate, I guess, because criticism is always hate, I guess.
Right. You can't have a nuanced negative opinion without it just being hate.
It's always
you're a goddamn hater.
Yeah. If you criticize something, you're hating it. Okay. You Nancy, you negative Nancy, you Debbie Downer. That's what you are if you criticize things.
I want you to be better, so I think I'm going to hate you now.
Yes, that's good. Haters welcome. Actually, there's a theory where you can grow a platform based on purely hate.
Oh yeah. Oh, for certain. I mean, I think we've seen that from lots of different creators. I hate to call them out, but like part of the commentary community is just like that's their job, right? Yeah. Their job is to come out and be like, this dude sucks. This chick sucks. This account is terrible. Like,
but not only that, I think there's also you yourself making the heel, the villain, the bad guy. That's also a strategy. I'm the bad guy. I'm the internet bad guy. Okay, and then you go full throttle on like I will make controversial claims. I'm constantly a contrarian. I will constantly harp on everyone and tell everyone that they're garbage. And then you become this kind of like this heel, this bad guy. You can also turn quickly into lol cow, which it's not that great. It's like the striking balance between like a heel being like the bad guy that everyone like, yeah, I fucking hate that guy, but this guy is cool. And being like, haha, he's fucking dumb. So
This
between
idiot.
yeah, this idiot. He's like, yeah, there's a balance between lolcow and being a heel.
I think it's interesting because like I've tried pretty hard to get genuine criticism of my channel.
Not possible.
It's so difficult to get constructive feedback.
Not possible.
Can you please give me constructive feedback right now? What do I do differently, Carlos?
That's a question I ask me myself every day. It's gonna be a cop-out answer. But the thing you have control of is your own content, right? There's nothing beyond that. There is a little bit of control, but like the control is so minimal that you can basically you should care about it, sure, but like it's like put it like on the second line. And making your content better is basically looking out for how you edit stuff. Is it flow? Does it flow? Does it flow? Or constantly evolving, making your content not only look better but sound better. If you make scripted content, constantly working on the scripts, maybe asking people to read your scripts, be a friend, be a family member, ask people in your circle to watch your videos and give feedback. One of the feedbacks I get is like always make your content shorter, and I'm like, that's not a really great criticism or anything. It's just like you want shorter content, but I don't make those.
They're like, feed into my lack of attention span, please.
Exactly. But there is like a criticism there, which is like make a longer video more enjoyable or more watchable. That way, like start watching it and then it flows nicely into each other. So sometimes also things that are being said at first you take as like, I don't agree with that. You can still take lessons from it. If someone says your content is shit, that's not criticism. If you say, "Oh, you sound bad," maybe you need to work on your voice. If someone says you look bad, maybe you need to work on your drip or your lighting. And yeah, exactly. So getting criticism, especially as a small creator, is near impossible. The best ways to do yourself and like be your own self-critic. Go back, watch your old videos and say, what can I improve on that? And the only thing you have control over is your own content. What quality you're going to release and how many videos you will release. That's the only thing you have control over. Everything else is like, it's there. You can try to take control over, but it won't, there's no, I realize that there's no magic bullet. I want the magic bullet. Because I'm a whiny bitch, but there's no magic bullet.
I'm curious. You kind of got me thinking. Is there a creator that you've watched, and then as you've grown as a creator, you've been like, oh, they're really not as good as I thought they were?
Most Critical.
I saw your most recent video. You brave soul going out and attacking Moist Critical.
Moist Critical Golden Boy is not attacked by the internet because people fear him, basically. It's like big creators don't want to like clash with him because, Moist Critical is your co-worker, right?
Right. I mean, you don't want to get lampooned by Moist. Yeah. I mean, he uses pretty aggressive language. He'll make you seem like a fool.
Yeah, and at the same time, smaller creators are either just like him because they like his comedy and it's fine. Personally, not my thing. But also as a smaller creator, it's kind of daunting to like attack something really, really big. Because then it's like, oh, I have fear, and that fear got like trained out of me for like doing YouTube for so long. I just go guns blazing. And if I die in a blaze of glory, I'm fine with it. I don't give a shit.
I thought it was interesting because that video, your comments, people aren't really agreeing with you. People aren't seeing your side of it, which
yeah, and that's fine. But the thing is, like, I don't need like I make in the beginning like opinions, and I make it very clear that I personally don't like it. But then I explain what like this type of video is not entertaining because it's cut in such a way where if the face of Moist Critical wasn't there, we would criticize that shit to hell and back. And then of course the content theft, which is like, this is like pretty clear. It's not even like discussable. It's like this is just the fact of the matter that he's a content thief.
It's actually interesting because a couple of days before I watched your video, I had videos in tandem popping up on my recommended feed that were why Drake and Josh were never friends.
And it's Moist Critical reacts.
2 videos later, Moist Critical reacts to why Drake and Josh were never friends. And then there's another one, but it's the same thing, you know, like the video, and then 2 videos later, Moist's video on it. And I had this moment where I was like, if they're both being fed to me, why would I watch Moist?
The original.
Yeah, why would I not watch the original? Like, if I watch it through him, then I'm just getting an extra layer between me and the content. It's probably going to make it harder for me to actually ingest that content.
Yep.
Like, and I think you made a good point of like, that is a specific section of his content.
Yeah, it's like
right?
one fourth. Like it's like the minimal amount of
right. It's like he'll do his streaming and then people are like, hey, can you go look this video up? And he's like, yeah, let's all go watch a video together.
My problem was less with how he conducted himself. If he just did it and like said, I'm gonna do it no matter what, that would be fine. Like, okay, he's still a content thief, but at least like he is like not lying to anyone. The problem is he said in his own video, I'm not gonna do it anymore, and then just continues doing it, and nobody holds him accountable. I'm like, fuck.
I think he's also like gained 2 million subscribers since then. Like,
yeah, like, I'm like, is nobody is not. I'm like John Travolta, the John Travolta meme. I'm like, like, is nobody gonna talk about this? Is that it? There was this whole dark web AU thing where like there was this. He made the dark web AU with like unfinished script, and there was like some really bad comparisons in there where people just like harped. Can I talk about this? The dark web AU thing? Okay, so there was this script. He made a comparison to like he compared a reactor's ability to not ask for permission to do things to someone that would rape someone. And that's like a pretty bad comparison. That's a pretty bad comparison. You can
so he's trying to relate it to consent.
Yeah, consent.
In a sexual manner.
The actual comparison is consent, but having rape as an example or comparison is kind of like stupid. And everyone has shit on him on that. That's fine. You should, because that's a shitty comparison. But also, kind of, everyone forgot that there's also like a comparison to picking cotton. And I'm like, so everyone's going to focus on the rape, but everyone's going to forget about the picking cotton thing? So is that we're just going to focus on one thing or not the other? It's okay. Because I'm one of the few people that actually read the whole fucking document. And I'm like, okay, so this is important, this is not important. All right, okay. Slavery, not important. Rape, important. Okay, all right. And then Boys Critical comes up with the thing. I don't believe he read it. I do not believe for a second he read it. He got maybe screenshots from people that sent him what was it written in there, and I didn't understand the point at all. With Dark Viper, you comes up with the thing, and that's the only time I remember someone actually criticizing Charlie for not only not understanding the actual point, but also misrepresenting the points that were made in the document. Even though you can criticize the document because it's a pretty bad comparison.
Well, so like.
That's the only time I saw someone, and later on they just became friends again. And like, okay, cool, fine, becoming friends, fine. But like, wouldn't you like hold your friend accountable when he constantly does shit? Like, is nobody gonna point that out? Okay.
Do you find it endearing that he just like records on his webcam and has a Yeti just kind of like hanging out? You're like, I guess I don't know. Like,
I'm okay with like the style, and it is a style kind of. But at some point, at the same point I made about lazy. At some point, turning lazy turns into content being shit. And it's like, can you do the same style with like a little bit more production? For sure. Sure.
Whoa, you've gone.
I think it doesn't care. That's it.
Purple lines. Whoa. I wish you could see what I'm seeing right now. This is insane looking. It's like you've turned into a purple. Oh, you're back.
I turned into purple rain.
I'll have to grab that like screen cap and send that to you because that was wild looking. So Moist hits you up, and he's like, come to my compound. We're gonna
Yes.
record 10 videos together.
I would
doing
absolutely
stupid
do it.
stuff.
I have no gripes. I'm a shameless shill. Okay, I said this about when everyone harps on Pokimane and she does stupid shit sometimes. I said if Pokimane hit you up, you would sit on that dick so fast you wouldn't be able to even see it. That's how fast you would sit on that dick. People will do stuff, okay, to grow. And I think the best example is, for example, Gideon. You know, Gideon said on stream some shit about Pokimane, then became friends, boom, career there. He made a career.
Chicken sandwiches were eaten together.
Let's go,
beef
baby.
squash.
Yeah. And
everybody knows my name now. They didn't
if I
know
could do
before.
that with Charlie, let's go, baby. Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, of course. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, this is one of the strategies that people follow. It's like, rile shit up, become friends afterwards. That's a thing you can do.
I'm interested. Say you make an extremely controversial video, and it does numbers. I mean, and it's like something where you're like, I feel kind of strongly about this, but the verbiage and the topic is much more flagrant than maybe I actually feel. Do you play into that?
Of course.
You go, all right, I'm about to become the controversial man now. I'm about to go hardcore on this.
I'm gonna drop F-bombs everywhere. I'm gonna drop every slur imaginable. I'm gonna become the heel. I'm gonna become the heel.
So you're gonna go my Joker. You're gonna go the like.
Gonna put Joker
Ben
makeup
Shapiro
on.
route. So I guess my question is like, how far does the draw towards success entice you into making content with people that you don't like?
There are lines I won't cross, for certain. I'm sure if you mention creators, I'm like, I would never even. The Quartering is probably a good example. I would even.
That's a great example.
I would never even attempt to approach this person. I do not respect this person at all.
Well, you don't think you could rationalize with the quartering?
Nope. I do not respect the person on a not only on a content level, but like on just pure ideological level. I can't respect this person. But they're successful. It could be useful to like have contact to them. I'm like, nah, not for me. I'm okay.
All right, so we've kind of bantered back and forth a little bit. We've made some jokes. I'm curious about when I first hit you up for this, you wanted to talk about games that are made in other languages and then either translated to English or solely developed in a different language. Specifically, you said like games from Brazil that are in Portuguese, right? So I kind of want to start with your experience. You said that you got to translate for Tribes of Midgard, right?
Exactly.
Which I thought was super interesting, not only because you got to translate for it, but because it was developed in Brazil.
It was developed in Canada, actually.
Okay. What language was it developed in?
French.
Interesting. So did you translated that?
So they had like a main English script because that's what most people speak, and from that everything else was translated basically.
Okay. So what languages did you help?
I helped from English to German, and I think I did like what was there because what was there I translated like almost 90%. I was the one guy to like just work through it. And then like a few other people came in and I just stopped because like the script was like adding like 2 or 3 lines to it and it wasn't growing, so people just like correcting and adding, and that's it. So and then they after they went in deal with Gearbox, they said, oh, we're not going to use any of your translation because Gearbox offered like a translation team. It was like, okay, cool. We're still gonna put you in the game. I have not checked if I'm in the game as a translator, but that was that was kind of interesting as well. It's like, oh, I translated like 90% of his script, and now it's not gonna use it. It was kind of funny, but also sad. It's like, oh, I wish it would have used whatever I did.
Have you gone through and played it in German?
I played it in German. It's well done. I think they used for the first few months they used our translations, and then Gearbox came in with the translation team, and then they changed it.
Hmm. So how long did you spend translating?
I don't actually know, but like between for the whole document, it was like pages upon pages, like 8 hours or so, like up of pure work. And then of course searching for like words that don't directly translate also takes time. So maybe another like 2 or 3 hours. So in maybe 10, 12 hours in overall as translation work. Yeah. But that's like
Now, how did they contact you to
I don't
translate?
even know. I think I just found them like, and they're like, "Oh, we need translators." Like, I like translating. Sure, I do that for German. I just did it.
Have you done translation work before?
Personally, yes, I've done translation work, but like not for a
Just in
official
your
game.
life.
Yeah, translating. I just that's like a thing you have to learn to do, I guess. When you like have several
Well,
languages.
so do you feel like the game plays different in German than it does? Not like mechanically, obviously, it's the same game, but do you think it's got a different tone in German than it has in English?
It does. It does. And I have actually a bad example where I was playing Horizon Zero Dawn, and I played Horizon Zero Dawn in English and then in German, and then I thought, holy fuck, this is a completely different feeling. Not only because the audio work in German is done cleaner, so you are it doesn't feel like the characters is in the world. It feels more like, oh, this feels like listen sounds like a studio recording. It sounds too clean. And the other one is like way more integrated in the world. So the English version sounds like it's in the world. This character's in this world, and the German version sounds like this is a booth. This is like someone recorded this in a booth. You can hear the difference. Not
It sounds like a dub.
It sounds like a dub, exactly. And not only that, but also certain words translated didn't kind of translate very well. There's, for example, Mother's Heart, which is like the village, and that was translated in Mutterherz, but the German word Mutterherz sounds awful. So
Whereas Mother's Heart has like this ethereal, wonderful feeling to it.
Herz der Mutter or something like das einsame Herz, something like with a adjective basically would like sound better. But that's like translation work is never only translating. Translation work is always also interpreting what the original writer wanted to say. Mother's Heart has this like ethereal feeling. You have to translate that ethereal feeling into German, and just calling it Mutterherz sounds like neutral. It doesn't evoke any feelings.
So when it comes to the games that are developed in Brazil, do you have specific ones that you were thinking of?
So I searched for a lot of games. I have I can send you a list if you want.
I had pulled up just like I think there's like a 28 games
way
or
more.
Something like that.
Like 200 or so.
That were listed on this list that I saw.
Yeah, there are like so many more. But one thing that I found out is there's a fan game called Sonic After the Sequel and Spark the Electric Jester, and those are both made by Brazilians. And I didn't know that. Like Spark the Electric Jester, like is like a Sonic fan game, and it like kind of like big on the internet or at least in the Sonic fan base. And it was made by Brazilian. I didn't know that. I just didn't know that.
Oh, I've seen this character.
Yeah, that's made by Brazilian.
So, do you feel like the Brazilian game design is different? Because I was actually thinking about this. Kind of tangentially related, I saw a video talking about music theory. Yeah. And modern music theory is based upon essentially the teachings of old white
Yeah.
men from Europe, right? So I kind of had this realization where most theories on film have also been developed by old
Yeah.
white men, and theories on game design have also been designed by mostly white
Yeah.
men. So I'm curious, is game design different in Brazil?
It's a little bit like math, right? Math, it doesn't matter which skin color or language you speak. It's like kind of universal. Like it's like a universal language.
Hmm.
And programming or like programming as a role is based on a lot of math. So while there will be differences, there's this game called Dandara by Longhead House. That's a Brazilian studio. They're basically a platformer, but you don't jump from thing to thing. You basically propel yourself from moving platforms, which is kind of interesting. Like a ping pong ball, basically. And that's like I never seen that before. And I think having other people from and also the topic Dandara is apparently like a like a Brazilian like revolutionary, and that's also what the story is about.
Mm.
So while the game itself might not change, topics might change. What the game is about. There's another game called Aria, I think, and it's about the Brazilian Northwest, which is full of like deserts and like there's a lot of like it's dry, it doesn't have much vegetation. So the game itself, how games are designed itself, might not change, but how the topics might change, and maybe some mechanics might be different because there's like some cultural influence into that. So yeah, like while the game design itself doesn't change, the themes and the stories and maybe some of the whole some of the gameplay is tweaked and changed to fit like a different culture.
Well, it kind of makes me think like I know plenty of people. You know, I'm in a good old Midwest America, and I know plenty of people who uh, have a very hard time watching foreign films because they hate reading the subtitles. That's just something that really is draining to them. So I feel like in a certain aspect, it's been difficult for foreign films to break into America in a big sense. That's not always the case. I think there's outliers to that. But do you feel like that's even harder for a video game where you're immersing yourself in it, or do you think it could be easier?
From what I get, like most Brazilians that develop, they also speak English. I think I hardly met someone that just only speaks Portuguese and develops, because that's almost impossible. Like programming, most information on programming you will find in English. So you will automatically also make your story in English and Portuguese as a default. So while and a movie is a little bit different. You can't make a movie automatically in both languages. But a game, you can you basically have two files and you could just swap them over and then it's translated basically. Except if you have voiceover, which I guess then you could like have subtitles.
Right.
But Brazilian games haven't reached there's no AAA Brazilian developer that makes games like Metal Gear Rising or Horizon Zero Dawn or Breath of the Wild. There's no Brazilian company that makes these types of games. So I think that problem isn't even there yet. But I'm sure if there was a Brazilian company that made these types of games, they would probably have a hard time translating Brazilian concepts or Portuguese concepts into other languages, and then that might be a hurdle for people. But again, it doesn't actually with Nintendo games, and they are developed mainly in Japanese. So who knows? It remains to be seen.
That's fair. I guess that's fair because I mean, yeah, like you just said, Nintendo is a Japanese company. They dominate the video game market, right? You know, they've had no issue breaking into the foreign market, as it were. Do you think people are missing out by not looking into Brazilian developers or even just other foreign developers?
It's an untapped pool of potential for sure. There are certain publishers, like I think. Let me look up, because I think it's either Devolver Digital or Raw Fury. Oh no, okay. So Raw Fury is one of those developers that doesn't give a shit about borders. They like look at games and they search for games and they search for games that are interesting and they bring them up. There are, I think in their portfolio there are Brazilian games, which is Dandara. There are, I think, African games. I can't remember the name yet, but also all over Europe and I think Asia as well. So there's definitely like a push, at least in the indie publishing sector, to like search for stuff everywhere over the globe. It doesn't matter where it comes from. The main problem in Brazil is that technology is really expensive. So, but if you want to start developing, you probably already have to have like a stable income already, or be funded by someone. It's really difficult to like just push yourself out of nowhere to be a game developer. And they also, most of the times it happens that they get educated in Brazil, they get like an education in Brazil, work in Brazil, and they move on. There are a lot of developers that work in completely different countries, be it America, Southeast Asia, Japan, Canada. The game called Celeste, one of the biggest indie hits of the last years, is partially developed also by Brazilians. Nobody knows that, but yes, it is.
Do you feel like they had an impact on the concept, or I guess it can be hard because if it's helmed by Canadian, you know, more North American developer, it's probably got more North American sensibilities, I guess, or concepts in them, right?
I can barely see like a Brazilian influence in it. Maybe the art style a little bit, but that's mainly it. Because the game is also more about like identity and finding yourself. So it doesn't even concern itself with like concepts of like a country. It's more like a concept of a human, and that can be universal for sure.
Well, I'm interested though, when you played through Tribes of Midgard, you're playing through in German. You're seeing how they've chosen to translate it. Did you go, I did a better translation than you did on that one?
Sometimes. Like most of the times I'm like, okay, it's not the same. The one thing difficult to keep in translation is keeping words as the same. So or keeping naming conventions the same. So one of the biggest hurdle in the translation was having weapons that are based on each other, not subtly change names. So like a long halberdier didn't suddenly become like a long axe, you know. So you have to like keep the naming convention in place, and they did a good job of that. But sometimes I'm like, this is the wrong word for this weapon, isn't it? This is not an axe.
This isn't an axe. They messed that convention up. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like an axe, but it's not one. We have a German word for that thing. And sometimes like, okay, so who translated this? Like, was this like a thing that happened that nobody either looked it up, or was it something that sometimes also it's a difference in opinion when it comes to translation. Where like, this is not an axe. I know I have a German word for that. It also might be a regional thing. Like there might be a regional word for something which might not be applicable to overall Germany, and then you have to like neuter the language. Yeah, so I thought it was fine. I switched to English again because that's how I play games. But yeah, it was fine.
Have you thought about hitting up Brazilian developers and being like, I will translate your game for you?
No. I think I can do like subtitling in Portuguese, but like translation from like English to Portuguese is like, I can speak it fluently and I could write it if I have like a program that corrects like the grammar. But translating work, I feel comfortable from English to German, German to English. But from Portuguese, if I did this for maybe for a few years, I would say, yeah, sure, I can do that. But
you'd need more experience.
Yeah, I would need more experience for that.
So if you did hit them up, what would you?
I did what? Yeah, I think a voice work is also like voice directing is also interesting because oftentimes I find myself like listening to German voice acting. Like, did nobody talk to each other in the studio? Like, where's the director? Like, when the Aloy example, I listening to a English version of the script of the line and the German version. Like, these are two different feelings. Like, did the German guy that directed the voice acting did not talk to the American voice acting director? Like, did they not talk about how it should feel? Yeah. So it's like, directing could be cool. I cannot voice act, but like directing would be cool because it's all about feelings. It's all about
Yeah.
how do you
And
feel.
like having an opinion that you're willing to stand by, I feel like is
Yeah.
a big part of a director is seeing what you want and being able to articulate that and stand by it. Yeah, having that vision for it.
Yeah. And it often lacks when it comes to translations. There often lacks a vision because, like I said, translation work is often like interpretation work as well. So not only do we have to translate so it's understandable, you also have to like what the original writer wanted to say with this, and you have to interpret that and justify that to a certain extent. To make clear what you mean.
I've eaten up a lot of your time, Carlos, but I want to ask you if there's anything you want to plug at the end of this. Because like you said, we always got to be plugging, and if we're not,
always gotta be plugging.
We're surely to fail. So
yes.
What is it? What are you plugging?
On my main channel, Carl Lucas. You better go subscribe. I'm gonna stab you. I also have a Patreon, which is cool. Patreon, give me money all the time, every time. I don't care where it comes from. If you have to steal money to give it to me, give it to me. I don't care. And sometimes I stream, not very often. Don't wait for streams. Mainly subscribe to the channel. Watch all the videos and then watch it again and then comment on the videos. Also like as well and share the video on social media. Share with your parents, share with your dogs, share with your cats, share with your sisters, share with your fiancés and aunts and uncles, share with everyone in your family. Force them to watch the videos. That's it.
Put the video on. Put it on repeat.
Put it on loop. Exactly.
Yeah. Put it on while you sleep. It just has to go. You don't even have to watch it. It just rack those numbers up.
Yes. While taking a shower, click on one of my videos and let it play.
Exactly.
Come out of the shower, continue playing it. Don't even look at the screen.
You get to school, you got the computer lab in front of you, every computer, you're opening up Carl Lucas, you're playing his videos, repeat.
Exactly. Click on the playlist, boom, there. Just let it play. Don't even need to think about it. Write a program that we click every like 5 minutes on an empty space so that YouTube doesn't see that you stop watching. Okay, that's how hard you have to commit. That's how hard you have to commit.
Real quick, I am curious. How does Patreon do for you?
I had one Patreon, I think, but
shouts out to your one.
That guy's pretty cool. He also asks me how I am sometimes. Like we kind of like internet companions a little bit.
I love that.
Yeah, and that's cool. I think Patreon is a good way to just do it. Just have Patreon. Affiliate links are a thing. You have to like if the main content is not bringing the money, you have to figure out how to do money with something else. Merch, Patreon, what's it called now? YouTube membership. You know, whatever works.
I'm gonna try and live up to your plugging, and I'm gonna plug myself now because I'm terrible at it. I never plug myself. I don't even ask people to like. So we're gonna do this for the people, right? Not for me, but for the
exactly.
Please like, subscribe, share this video, like you said, to all your friends, your families, your enemies, even, because they may enjoy this content. And you know what? I got a Twitch. It's all Heffelmeyer133 all the time, everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, Patreon even. I got 0 patrons. You could be the first. Think about it. Was that good?
Preach, brother.
Did I do it right? Ah, beautiful.
So let me know.
Thank you so much.
And do this every
for
time.
being on here. That's yeah. I'll use that clip at the end of every single video.
Oh man.
Well, I really do appreciate you taking the time, being on here with me, and having a nice big chat. Absolutely. Right. Anything you want to say to the people before you go?
Subscribe to Carl Lucas.